Good evening and welcome to People of Our Past. My name is Kenny Sturgeon and I'm the new executive director here at the museum, and I'm also your MC for tonight. I'd like to introduce this year's Apple Blossom royalty, Queen Savannah Slife, Princess Elizabeth Popoff, please hold your applause for just a moment, and Princess Olivia Lancaster and their chaperones. If everyone could please stand for who are related to the royalty. Wow. Thank you. We at the museum celebrate the rich heritage of the Wenatchee Valley, and the Apple Blossom Festival and Royalty are a perfect example of that shared history and culture. Thank you for being here. Tonight, we'll take you back to the beginning of Wenatchee's Apple Blossom Festival. You will meet 5 important characters from the festival's past. Please keep in mind that each of these characters will speak in the context of their times. They will not be able to answer questions regarding events after the time period in which their lives took place. You will be invited to ask questions at the end of each performance. We'll be working our way back in time, beginning with Bill Thurman. In addition to being an Appellarian and Director General, Bill and his wife were the first Apple Blossom Festival delegation to Misawa, Japan in 1967. Next is Fern Cosino Duncan. She was the art teacher who designed and created individual crowns for the royalty beginning in 1932. Our third character is the 10th Apple Blossom Queen Rosella Coral, who was flown to Chicago to appear in a national NBC radio broadcast where she invited all Americans to Wenatchee for the festival. And would have been impressive, huh? And lastly, Mr. and Mrs. Ernst Wagner. He was the pioneer fruit grower, and she was a member of the Ladies Musical Club, which started the first Apple Blossom Festival. Each course with dinner tonight, this evening, is apple-themed to go along with our Apple Blossom Festival. A special musical piece performed by Vern Smith, Steve Clem, and Chris Rader precedes each monologue. The bread on your table is always a staple in Wenatchee. It is our version of Chieftain apple bread and is served with apple butter. Now, let's turn our attention to the stage where the band will perform Sentimental Journey.
Gonna take a sentimental journey, gonna set my heart at ease, gonna make a sentimental journey to renew old memories. Got my bag, I got my reservation, spent each time I could afford. Like a child in wild anticipation, I long to hear that all aboard. 7, that's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up for heaven, counting every mile of railroad track that takes me back. Never thought my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey, sentimental journey home. 7, that's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up for heaven, counting every mile of railroad that takes me back. Never thought my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey, sentimental journey home. Gotta take a sentimental journey, sentimental journey home.
So please enjoy your bread while we begin in 1967 at a Kiwanis meeting where Bill Thurman is reporting on his trip to Misawa, Japan.
I'm pleased to come before you this evening representing the Applearians and the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival. The Apple Blossom Festival has been dear to my family and myself ever since our first spring here in Wenatchee. I came to Wenatchee in the early spring of 1949 to open Chemco, the Keokuk Electrometals Company plant in Rock Island, and was joined by my wife Isabella and sons Conrad and David in April. We stayed at the Wenatchee Tourist Court on the corner of 9th and Wenatchee Avenue, where all of the cabins were named after varieties of apples. Ours was called the Black Twig. I had no idea that a black twig was an apple, but since I have eaten one, and even though it was a bit tart, I must say it was delicious. Soon after our family arrived, we had our first experience with the Apple Blossom Festival. My son Conrad was in the 3rd grade then and participated in the kids' parade, but the 1st and 2nd graders didn't have to be in the parade, so David was spared, and I'm sure that Conrad was thrown in without knowing what it was all about. We headed back to Keokuk that summer, but when I was transferred here permanently in 1952, we once again arrived in April, just in time for our 2nd Apple Blossom Festival. I'm sure that my boys thought that Wenatchee was a perpetual festival at that time. Anyway, by that time, our daughter Jeanette had been born, and both Conrad and David participated in the kids' parade, which I filmed on my brand new 8mm camera from the upstairs window of an apartment on the west side of Orondo Street. You know, I miss our Midwest relatives and friends, but I love the Northwest with its mountains and the Columbia River. As the years have gone by, I've become more involved in community events. I represent Chemco at the Wenatchee Chamber of Commerce. It's nice that the Chamber allows us to be part of their organization, considering all the smelly, yellowish-brown smoke we produce all over the town of Rock Island. But after all, we are making some vital materials for the airplane industry: ferrosilicon, silicon metal, and so on. I became a charter member of the Applearians back in 1958 when we first formed. I guess it's a good way to get guys involved in our famous festival, welcoming visitors and taking our float to different communities. Last year, I was honored to serve as Director General of the Apple Blossom Festival and was able to accompany the royalty and the float to the Portland Rose Festival. Look, they even gave me a plaque calling me an honorary Rosarian. It's nice to see how much respect these other towns pay to Wenatchee's Apple Blossom Festival. Recently, Isabella and I had the opportunity to travel with Washington State Apple Blossom Festival Queen Patty Skaman on a trip to Misawa, Japan. We've always had a special relationship with Misawa since 1931, when Clyde Pangborn and Hugh Herndon flew the world's first trans-Pacific flight from Misawa to Wenatchee aboard the Miss Vidal in 41 hours. The people of Misawa were very friendly and helpful to the pilots as they prepared for their historic flight. We were thrilled to make this journey representing Wenatchee, and wow, what a trip! It was the first time our festival had been featured during Misawa's summer festival, and I bet it won't be the last. When we got to Japan, Queen Patty was featured in their summer festival activities and parade. There were all sorts of events planned for our entertainment. We were hosted and we were dined like royalty. Queen Patty gave a speech to one of the local high schools, and we were entertained by some of the local rock and roll bands and singers. Another activity provided for us was a scavenger hunt where we were sent out with guides to find various objects to complete our list. In the interim, we were able to meet and greet the people of Amori Prefecture. Queen Patty was tasked with signing autographs many times along our way, and treated like the queen she was. In one of my favorite photographs, Queen Patty is signing autographs for a group of Japanese teenagers. She towers over them. Another thing I did while I was in Japan was buy a new camera. This camera is incredible. I can't believe how much technology has advanced through the years. Where my old camera had to be wound continuously, this one is battery-powered, has built-in electric telephoto lenses, and automatic focusing. This 1967 technology is fantastic. I was able to record many scenes of life in Japan: city scenes, rice paddies, dense forests, and even a mountain road still covered in snow. On the way home from Japan, we stopped over in Hawaii for a couple of days to unwind. We were able to visit the Battleship Arizona Memorial, and I got a few more shots of Queen Patty, Isabella, and I relaxing in the surf on the beach. Have you ever tried herding cats? Well, this was what it was like trying to keep track of Queen Patty. You'd take your eyes off her for a moment, and she'd be somewhere way off down a beach talking or horsing around with a bunch of boys. We had to keep rounding her up again, or she'd disappear. I guess this was her way of trying to unwind after all the queenly duties in Japan. All in all, the trip was a fantastic way to present Wenatchee and the Apple Blossom Festival to others. I trust that the committees that attend to these things will continue to exchange the festival traditions back and forth with Misawa. As we near the end of 1967, I look forward to many more happy times and festivals with the Appalarians. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you this evening. Are there any questions? I'll try to answer them if I can, and if not, I'll try to find someone who can. No questions? Well, thank you very much. Oh, we have one back there.
Would you describe the aircraft you were flying, unless you took a ship?
Well, that is a very good question, and I don't recall, and I'll tell you why I don't recall. Appalarians, the history that started back then was we tended to imbibe a lot, and I don't recall that information. Are there any other questions? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. The second course this evening is a fruited slaw with apples. Please enjoy this while the band plays I Love a Parade.
Turn a page, hold on. I walk every step of the mile. I think it is really worthwhile to see a parade come marching down the line. I don't know a son of a gun who wouldn't be willing to run to see a parade come marching down the line. Perhaps I'm what you call a patriot. But one thing is certain, whether I am or not, oh, I love a parade. The tramping of feet, I love every beat I hear of the drum. I love a parade. When I hear a band, I just want to stand and cheer as they come. The rat-a-tat-tat, the blare of the horn, the rat-a-tat-tat, a bright uniform, the sight of a drill will give me a thrill at the skill of anything military. Oh, I love a parade, a handful of vets, a line of cadets, or any brigade. Oh, I love a parade, the tramping of feet, I love every beat I hear of the drum. I love a parade. When I hear the band, I just want to stand and cheer as they come. The rat-a-tat-tat, the blare of the horn, the rat-a-tat-tat, the bright uniform, the sight of a drill will give me a thrill at the skill of anything military. Oh, I love a parade, a handful of vets, a line of cadets, or any brigade. For I love a parade.
Next, we join Fran Cousineau-Duncan. The year is 1959. And we join a usually busy Fern, enjoying a peaceful moment in her home. So peaceful, she's not even outside yet. Fern, thank you.
Hello. Oh, what a wonderful surprise. Well, hello. This is unexpected. Well, do I recognize some of you here? Well, if you've had an association, would you please stand up so I can see you more clearly? Any association, any time you ever knew me or... Well, oh, Debbie, do I remember you so well? Sue Weidman, I see you. Stand up, Sue. Yes. Yes, I think she was kind of a troublemaker. I just have some mail I'm going through here. Oh, Aunt Wildebelle again. And oh, who else? Oh, yes. And the electric bill. Always the electric. Well, look here. I've got a letter from Phi Delta Nu. Oh, I've heard they're presenting an exciting new award this year. Let's see what it says. Oh, here. Dear Mrs. Duncan, this year, for the first time, Phi Delta Nu is giving a national award. This action is motivated by two things: the outstanding achievements of one of our members and the fact that Phi Delta Nu is rapidly growing in national stature. Well, I am so happy to be a member of Phi Delta Nu. We are a group of artists whose purpose is to encourage creative works in all phases of the arts. Yes. Our first recipient of this national award is a member whom few of us have been privileged to meet in person. Yet by her achievements do we know her. It's a woman. She did not speak for herself, but her friends spoke for her. What they said made us very proud to claim her as one of our own. Well, I wonder who they nominated. In addition to her outstanding work as an art teacher, the member whom we honor has given freely of her time and talent whenever and wherever the need was made known to her. Well, of course, I love to do art, but more than anything, I love to inspire others to do art. I held an art teaching fellowship at Oregon State College, and my career in the Wenatchee Valley has been long. Well, I began as an art instructor at Wenatchee High School in 1929, and recently I've become an art teacher at the college here in town. Currently, we are working on a mural that depicts the life and activities at the college. Well, it's going to take us a little while to get this completed, of hard work and planning. Yes, well, no one ever calls me. Thank you. Hello? Oh, yes, this is Fern Duncan. Oh, yes, I was just reading your announcement here in the mail. Yes. They chose me. They chose me for their ward. I'm so excited. Oh, yes. Yes. Well, I would love to be included in your newsletter. Where do I begin? Well, I was born in 1894 in Grants Pass, Oregon. Well, I spent most of my childhood in Crescent City in San Francisco, but then my family moved back to Grants Pass, where I completed my high school education. From there, I received an art scholarship to the Portland Art School. And from there, I went on to Oregon State College, where I received my bachelor's degree in education. Then I went on to study art at the University of Oregon, Columbia University, the Chicago Art Institute, UCLA, and I also studied art in Europe for a period of time. Oh, I can't tell you how rewarding, how inspiring, how educating that would. It just filled my. Pardon me? That's all you need? Oh, well, may I say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. This is so unexpected. I'm so, yes? Goodbye. Whoopsies. Well, oh dear. I'm so moved by this whole thing. I just never would. It's so unexpected. And, well, look at this. It's my nominating letter. Oh, well, what did they say? For more than 30 years, Fern Cousineau Duncan has been active in the annual Apple Blossom Festival. She has directed the entire program, designed costumes, written scripts, and created the crown and scepter for the Queen. Well, the Apple Blossom Festival is my favorite time of year. Well, not only is it absolutely beautiful in this community, but it's such an exciting community celebration, don't you think? Yes. Well, oh, yes. She has designed floats, assisted in actual building of them, and advised others. Well, I truly do this because I have such a passion for the arts and this community. It's just so wonderful to be recognized for my work. Well, I've been involved in the Apple Blossom Festival for a long time. I began by making crowns and scepters for the royalty each year. And then in 1939, I decorated and designed the entire stage at the courthouse for the coronation. Oh, yes. Well, I need some help. I want to show you something. Could you please come help me? Yes, you cute little girl right here, and this bald man, can you come? Hurry, we don't have much time. Oh, yes, aren't you cute?
How are you?
I need you to hold two sides of this. It's not difficult now, just hold it up there. Yes. Well, I wanted to show you that I loved making these crowns each year and presenting them to the royalty. Yes. I would begin by shaping the front just how I wanted to be. And you know, every year they'd be different. Well, you know, the 1930s was a difficult time for the Wenatchee Valley and really the whole nation. And once creativity was strengthened by our lack of resources, we had to deal with what was available to us. So I would usually start with a strong piece of cardboard, and then you see how I would cut out pieces and shape the front, and yes, I just love doing this. Yes, well, let me show you. I'm done with you now. Okay. Can you? Thank you. Usually they roll it up for me, but that's okay. Well, then after I got my design all completed, well, you can see each piece was coated with an exceptional amount of glitter. And then I would form a pattern of paste gems and place them on the front to give it that more regal look. Well, you know, this marks the 40th anniversary of the Apple Blossom Festival, and I'm proud to say I've contributed for 30 years. I think my favorite thing I did was when I was director of the coronation. Oh, yes. Well, this is my final year of directing the coronation, a role I've had since 1929. Oh, literally thousands of people would crowd into Memorial Park for this event. And well, I remember in 1939, the governor himself came to this crowning ceremony. It was just wonderful. Now, let me think. Who was queen that year? 1939 was Lois Ross. Oh, yes, Lois. There she was in her beautiful gown, and I had the privilege of presenting her crown and scepter to her on a satin pillow. Hi, Lois. Yes, well, let's see, what else did they say? She has assisted in one of the local orthopedic groups to stage an annual fashion show and was presented an orchid for being outstanding lady of her community. Well, I have served on many clubs in this valley, including the Seroptimus Club International. Yes, well, I served on regional and national committees. Also, I was a founding member of the American Association for University Women. Well, our chapter was formed to promote higher education and liberal arts in this town. I represented the women artists in this group. Oh, yes, so beloved is she. Former students now bring their children to her for special instruction in art. As was so truly, sincerely said, wherever she can be of help, there you will find her. Many of her designs and creations have become permanent and in time will be traditional. Phi Delta Nu proudly joins the city of Wenatchee in honoring Fern Cousineau Duncan with our first, oh, excuse me, my nose is running. Fern Cousineau Duncan with our first national award for achievement in creative art. Well, I love this community, and I'm so proud to receive this award from Phi Delta Nu and the great city of Wenatchee. Well, It doesn't say anything here about a presentation, but if there is one, I hope to see you all there. Thank you. Have I covered everything? Do you have any questions? Oh, yes.
How do you come up with ideas for a different crown every year?
Oh, I could have made even more crowns. It's just a natural gift of mine to be creative. In fact, I could have made more and passed them on to your royalty so your crowns would have been prettier. Oh, yes, you, right. I have a passion for hats. I've made some of them, and I have bought some of them. A closet full. Some people like hats. Imelda Marcos was shoes, I'm hats. Oh, I just love hats. Someone else had a question. Do you have any brothers and sisters? No. Well, I have some half siblings, but my parents did divorce, and that's just the way it is. Yes, troublemaker.
Mrs. Duncan, I remember you coming into class with a pink wicker basket over your arm, and then you disappear in your office, and we wouldn't see the basket anymore.
Do you know what was in my basket?
The rumor was it was kitty.
You're right. I couldn't leave my kitties home alone. I had to bring them with me. They were very well behaved, sweet little things. I had to leave some of them at home, but I loved them. I didn't have children, and so my kittens and my students were my life. Anything else? Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Fern. As always, People of Our Past is a collaborative effort. A special thank you to Music Theater of Wenatchee, Chris Rader, Christy Kimmel, Rod Molzon, Emily Watchholder, Owen Sheets, Emma Agti, Vern Smith, Steve Clem, and Cynthia Brown for assisting with the research, script writing, and directing of People of Our Past. Please join us again. We're going to take a short intermission in 15 minutes as we visit with the 10th Apple Blossom Queen, Rosella Coral, and the couple who started it all, Ernst and Susan Wagner. Thank you.
And I don't know how many of you know that over all the years, the Apple Blossom royalty has sung the queen and the princesses. When they go traveling around, they have sung various songs. And, back in the 40s, it was I'll Be With You in Apple Blossom Time. You're going to hear that song later today. And the royalty today was telling me they have kind of a custom-written song that they perform when they go to various events, and they bring in the names of the sponsors, and it sounds pretty cool.
Are we
the
gonna
one
get to
we're
hear
gonna
that?
do right now was one that the Apple Blossom royalty used to perform. And don't think about a cola drink or anything like that. Just think about teaching the world to sing.
I like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I like to see the world for once all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land.
That's the song I
I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. Do 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 do. I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once all standing hand in hand and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. Do 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 do.
Sing along.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. We're gonna do this until everybody sings. Do 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 do.
All right.
So it's 1929, and newly crowned Apple Blossom Queen Rosella Coral is speaking to the crowd at the 10th Apple Blossom Festival.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wenatchee's 10th Annual Apple Blossom Festival. I'm Queen Rosella Coral, and I am incredibly honored to rule over this year's festivities, which are shaping up to be the most amazing yet. Anyone who has perused the festival can see that people from all around the country have come in to celebrate with us and appreciate Wenatchee for all it has to offer. One thing you should know about me is that I was raised in, live in, and will forever love Wenatchee. I live with my mother and father, whom I adore, in our home by the Wenatchee River. Some of my favorite things to do are walk along the riverbanks and talk with my father about houses and architecture. He built Lester Coffin's mansion, Spanish castle on Tarpascan Creek, and I find he has some of the best stories of anyone I know. Cooking and crafting with my mother are also activities I hold dearly to my heart. My hometown is filled with some of the kindest, most intelligent, hardest working people to walk the earth. And I hope anyone who is just visiting for the festival will feel this love and care as they explore the activities we have set up. Over the past decade, both our hometown and this lovely festival have grown into something magnificent that I dare say is rivaled by no other in the state. Beautiful scenery abounds here, but the succulent springtime air and wafting notes of apple blossoms makes Wenatchee the best place to be. And there is so much for you all to enjoy this year as well. Later this afternoon, a parade will be held, where thousands of children and some of our visiting musical acts will be featured. And tomorrow, another parade is planned with even more pomp and celebration. I've seen a sneak peek of some of this year's floats, including my own, and they are not to be missed. Community members and local businesses all pitched in to craft these spectacles, and the work shows. Everyone has worked so hard on the festival this year, and the effort that went into last-minute finishing touches and getting all the ducks in a row is astounding. We have musical acts from Seattle to Spokane here to perform throughout the entire festival, and the state's brightest stars from Cornish College of the Arts will be performing the Apple Blossom Review, featuring the spectacularly talented Gloria Grafton. I am particularly excited to hear the North Central Band. They're perfect for jiving. Oh, And the Warren Anderson Orchestra, among many others, will be performing this evening at the Masonic Lodge. Whether you like jazz, dance, or classical, this year's Apple Blossom has something for everyone. I was lucky enough to travel to Chicago with my chaperones to invite the entire nation to attend our 10th annual festival. Oh, the trip was just wonderful. I enjoyed every minute and was welcomed with such open arms. In April, I spoke on the Great Northern Broadcasting Series, a program of the National Broadcasting Company. My invitation was heard on 39 stations across the country, and clearly people turned out, although we would have appreciated an RSVP. So many people and musical guests have come to Wenatchee that the Great Northern Railway was asked to bring in sleeper cars for people to lodge in, and community members with extra rooms are opening up their homes. This entire experience really has felt like the royal treatment. I had the opportunity to be driven with the Apple Blossom Princesses in an absolutely lovely presidential vehicle. Our royal party couldn't believe how smoothly it drove and the speed it was capable of, over 35 miles an hour. This entire festival really shows just how far we have come in our community. Riding in a powerful automobile and later an airplane truly emphasized the technological advances we are making. Before you know it, we will have radio as well, and be able to listen to the National Broadcasting Company's programs about other towns doing amazing things. Just before my trip to Chicago, I was welcomed at the Seattle Chamber of Commerce. Aside from this, I also had the lovely opportunity to travel all around the state to invite our neighbors to attend the festival as well. I visited OMAC to speak at Okanagan High School, and on one occasion, I was driven to the Twin Cities where the Great Northern Women's Club welcomed me with flowers. I hope the festivities here today parallel the hospitality I have felt through all of my travels as Queen. The fireworks show will highlight all of this excitement. Oh, but don't be frightened if you hear some booms. And speaking of loud noises, if you look to the sky, you will see our fantastic air circus. These elaborate aircrafts fly over to perform tricks and will drop skydivers every few minutes. Wenatchee has come so far from our humble beginnings, and this entire festival truly displays the splendor our town has to offer. It's about time we all started celebrating. So to my Wenatchee relatives, thank you for your hard work and passion. And to our honored guests, I hope you enjoy all that Wenatchee has to offer, and welcome to our home. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you might have them. Yes? Oh my goodness, I was, but everyone involved in the Apple Blossom Festival helped me prepare so I could be as eloquent as possible. Yes? It was, yes. It was quite the adventure getting there, but it was a wonderful experience. Yes? Oh, hello, sir. Oh, well, I am too. I love this festival and this community. Sorry? Is there an answer you're looking for? Are you asking? I can't tell if you're prompting me.
Emily, you are a great queen and wonderful.
Thank you. My favorite part of Apple Blossom is that we get to celebrate our entire community every year. We all have a gift, and thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
So I'd like to welcome the band back up. For dessert, which is coming out just now, what else but apple tartlets? While you are enjoying dessert, there is also coffee, which I'm assuming will be coming around as well. The band is going to be playing When You're Smiling.
When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. And when you're laughing, yeah, when you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain. So stop your sighing, be happy again. Keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. Now when you're smiling, yeah, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. And when you're laughing, yeah, when you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, bring on the rain. So stop your sighing, get happy again. Yo, keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. Yeah, when you're smiling, yeah, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. Yeah, when you're laughing, yeah, when you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain. So stop your sighing, get happy again. Yo, keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. The whole world smiles with you.
So it's February 1920. Let's join Ernst Wagner at home as he waits for his wife Susan to arrive.
Hello, good evening. I am Ernst Wagner. Welcome to our home. Mrs. Wagner is late. We'll leave a chair for her. She's off to a meeting of the Women's Musical Club. She hopes to persuade them that a Spring Blossom Festival will be a good thing for the city and the valley and the growers, of which I am one. We have 300 acres in trees along the Columbia at Wagnersburg, south of Antioch. Planted my first trees in '94. They first bore fruit in 1900. Back then, the growers were at the mercy of the brokers. When they were finished, it seemed like we were left with mere pennies. In 1907, I shipped my 3 rail cars of apples to Seattle, went along with them, to sell them myself. I found no buyers. But I did learn that apples were wanted in Australia. So I convinced a Canadian shipping company to take my apples and my family and wait until the fruit sold to be paid. I returned to Wenatchee with a profit of $5,000. The next year, with more apples to sell and the New Zealand market open, I returned with a $100,000 gain. Yeah. See, that began annual trips down under with apples to sell. That is how I met Mrs. Wagner. She's a New Zealander and saw spring blossom festivals there while growing up. And she is late. Our spring blossoms will be done before that meeting is over. Mrs. Wagner.
Oh, Ernst, wonderful news. Oh, hello. I didn't mean to treat you to such an entrance. Am I late, Ernst?
Yes, Mrs. Wagner, but we have saved you a chair.
Oh, Ernst wants me to call him Mr. Wagner, but I wish him to call me Susan. It is my name.
So, what is your news?
Oh, Ernst, it was so wonderful. They loved my idea. There was so much energy in the room, Ernst. So much energy in the ladies' musical club. We didn't even take time for a regular rehearsal. We spent the whole evening sharing ideas, and everyone had them. All the ladies are home now, endeavoring to convince their husbands how important their help will be in this.
If they're as persuasive as you, my dear, they'll have every man in town lined up, waiting for orders.
Don't make fun, Ernst. This is serious business. There's so much to do and plan and discuss to make it all happen by spring.
But that's over a year away, my dear.
Oh, no, Ernst. This spring, May 7th is the day for Blossom Festival.
But that's only 2 months.
Oh, it's enough if you help you and the men of the commercial club.
I don't know, my dear. What would you have us do?
In time, Ernst. First, let me tell you our ideas.
Very well. 2 months indeed.
It's going to be so much fun.
Sounds like work.
Oh, now listen to the ideas. The festival will start at noon with a winding of the maypole. The little tots from Stevens School would dance in Memorial Park and sing songs and wind, and they could perhaps parade a bit in their flower costumes.
Very sweet little tots. Can they be ready?
Oh, their teacher, a member of the musical club, says yes, they will be ready. And then in the afternoon, we should have a baseball game at the fairgrounds. You know, everyone will turn out for that. They always do.
Especially if it's the right 2 teams. Say Wenatchee or Kashmir or Waterville. Those are always damn tough teams.
Ernst.
Oh, of course. Sorry, I forgot you were here for a moment. Sorry. Yes, baseball is always part of a celebration.
Now, there should be feasting in the early evening, perhaps at Memorial Park. Picnic lunches, what do you think, Ernst?
Well, that's all well and good, but you'll need more.
Oh, we will have more. We're not just planning for this year, Ernst. We want Blossom Festival to be an annual event, growing each year. Now, this year, the evening will be filled with music of all sorts. Of course, the Ladies' Musical Club Chorus will sing, as well as the Wenatchee High School Girls Chorus. Perhaps Dalton Blake could be persuaded to play his cornet. And you know Homer MacDonald never passes up a chance to sing. Now, we could have someone entertain with the violin. Do you think we should have the maypole dance us back again?
That would be good.
And Ernst, we need a band to open and close the evening. Of course, the Wenatchee Brass Band will play, but we need a big band, a marching band.
Oh, I have an idea for that. The other day, George Ames was talking about the USS New York, the largest battleship in the Navy's fleet. It will be making a tour of West Coast ports this year and will be docked in Seattle this spring. It has a band that will be playing concerts.
Oh, that would be wonderful, Ernst. Can you see about bringing them here?
Of course, my dear. I will do my best.
All those handsome young men in uniform.
Perhaps I won't bring them here.
They could do so much for our celebration. Perhaps after their program, they could march from the park down to the avenue and play for a street dance. And then we could also...
We don't have them yet, my dear.
Oh, you'll get them, Ernst. I know you will. And then they could escort the Blossom Queen to the dance.
A queen?
Well, we must have a queen. The ladies believe it should be Fern Prowell. She sings and plays piano.
Do I know her?
You do. She played the lead in Wenatchee High School's operetta, Miss Cherry Blossom.
Yes, a very fine voice, and pretty too.
Oh, but don't tell anyone, Ernst. It should be a surprise.
Very well, my dear. What more would you have me do? I suspect there is more.
Well, we've made a list of events. I want you to take it to the men of the commercial club and then the Legion and others. We need their support. We need groups to sponsor events. And then take it to the men's business clubs of Seattle and Spokane.
I don't know, my dear. 2 months.
Oh, I know you'll get them, Ernst. We don't want this just to be a festival for us. We want visitors. Make sure they come, Ernst, and bring their wives.
2 months. But it's how will we entice them to come?
Well,
it's a long journey.
They can make a holiday of it. They could come on the train. Tell them they'll be treated royally, starting in the morning with an auto excursion.
Auto excursion?
Yes, Ernst. You and the men at the commercial club will organize that. Now, we'll need all the cars you can muster. 80 or 100 or so, just enough to hold all the Seattle and Spokane visitors.
But we haven't got them to come.
Oh, you will. They'll come, and we'll treat them to our valley filled with beautiful blossoms, the most wonderful sight they will ever see. The tour will take them past Wenatchee's finest homes, including the Turner home. Oh, we could drive them up to the viewpoint on Turner Heights, and then up the valley through Monitor to Kashmir for a picnic lunch, and then back to Wenatchee for the baseball game, and then followed by a grand banquet for all the visitors with speeches. You can enlist the speakers, can't you, Ernst? Certainly, Mr. Galatly will speak, and Ed Ferguson is always willing and entertaining. You'll talk them into it, won't you, Ernst?
They'll agree, my dear. They'll agree.
Oh, we want so much for the Seattle and Spokane visitors to be impressed with the beauty of our valley and the success of Blossom Festival.
I think your plan will do that.
Oh, and Ernst, I want you to be the lead car in the excursion and carry the Blossom Queen and the visiting dignitaries. So take the Mitchell, still the finest automobile in the valley.
Take the Mitchell? My dear, it's a journey of many miles, and the Mitchell uses a great deal of fuel. Now, the Hupmobile. All right, then, the Mitchell.
Oh, thank you, Ernst.
My dear, these people will think you have me under your thumb.
Oh, never, Ernst, never. We do hope all of you will come to our first Blossom Festival and bring your friends. You'll come, won't you? Yes. Oh, see, Ernst, it will be wonderful.
Oh, Mrs. Wagner.
Oh, Ernst, we will make a success of it.
Indeed we shall. Are there any questions?
Did you ever think it would be 100 years?
Pardon me?
Did you ever think it would go 100 years?
Oh, I just knew it.
Do you still have your orchard?
Yes, I do. Yes, 300 acres.
Was there really a Wagnerville?
You mean Wagnersville? Wagnersburg?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yes.
I believe there's a sign.
I
you
worked
can
hard to
see-
get it put
You
there.
can see the sign from the train. Oh, Ernst would never let me down. Well, there's just one more thing to do. Yes?
There was quite a few. The plan worked. We had the commercial clubs from Seattle and Spokane, well attended. For the very first one, very
Yes.
good.
Yeah. All right. Time for my surprise. It works perfectly with our project now. It's the newest hit song of 1920. Come along, Ernst. I'll start and you come in. I'm writing you, dear, just to tell you. In September, you remember.
Neath the old apple tree, you whispered to me, when it blossoms again, you'll be mine.
I've waited until I can claim you. I hope I've not waited in vain.
For when it's spring in the valley, I'm coming, my sweetheart, again.
I'll be with you in apple blossom time. I'll be with you to change your name to mine.
One day in May, I'll come and say, happy the bride the sun shines on today. What a wonderful wedding there will be. What a wonderful day for you and me. Church bells will chime, you will be mine in apple blossom time. Join us now. I'll be with you in apple blossom time. I'll be with you to change your name to mine. One day in May, I'll come and say, happy the bride the sun shines on today. What a wonderful wedding there will be. What a wonderful day for you and me. Church bells will chime, you will be mine in apple blossom time. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you all for joining us for People of Our Past 2019. If we also could please give a hand to the band for their performance tonight. Thank you both, all three of you. Thank you. Community members, gifts, sponsorships, and your participation in programs like this allow the museum to continue providing these kind of experiences for our community. So thank you for being here with us tonight. On behalf of all of us at the museum, on behalf of the staff and the volunteers who graciously gave their time tonight, and we thank you for your support. Have a good night.